Hey everybody, it is July 6, 2009. I am Sonic Suns, and I have here a $2 checkerboard. Now, at the moment, I'm lucky enough to have a job. And at that job, I'm lucky enough to have a lunch break. And early on in the summer, I thought to myself, well, why don't I bring this random checkerboard I have lying around over to the lunch break? Since then, I've become known as the guy who brings the checkerboard to the lunch break. And, it occurs to me, with all the hours I've spent with the checkerboard, that maybe some of the bigger, flashier things we have are video games and such, and I do love video games. These things take up more of our attention than they necessarily deserve. What I mean by that is, you can get so much out of a checkerboard without having to spend so much money or have so much technical expertise or whatever various other requirements you have for so much other high-end entertainment. There's a lot you can do with $2 that you have in this checkerboard. Now, to be perfectly fair, it's actually loaded up a bit. I have this from a Connect 4 set, and I have, you see, Connect 4 pieces, and I got regular checkers. I got some cards in here. I'm actually missing one of the cards, some poker chips, and of course, the all-important board. But put it all together, it's still not a lot of money. The simplest thing you can do with a checkerboard is play a game of tic-tac-toe. Basically mark out a 3x3 space. You don't actually need cards for that, but if you wanted to. And then, you play red and black, and whoever happens to get 3 in a row gets to be the winner of the game. Very simple stuff, but already you find yourself doing things that you didn't actually expect to be done with a checkerboard. We'll start with the obvious. This is the game of checkers. You have a player over here, you have a player over there. You move a piece, any of these, diagonal sorts of things. You move one space at a time. And the other guy will move one space. If ever you have your guy next to his guy, and say I moved here, and then now it's his turn, well, he can jump, and he takes my guy away, right? If it was working out, say there was a guy here, and it was like that, you could double jump, take the guy away. Technically, if you can jump, you're forced to jump. I never knew the rule when I was playing it way back in the day, but apparently you're forced to jump if ever you have the opportunity. And if you ever happen to get a guy towards the back line of the enemy's place, there's a black guy moved all the way to the other side of the board, then he becomes a king, which I probably should use actual checker pieces rather than Connect 4 pieces. King, typically you do this by placing another piece on top of it, and now the king can do not only in one direction, like this red guy here, he can only go this way generally. A king could, move theoretically any which way at all, and jump over people and, do some craziness, stuff like that. That's the game of checkers. You win that game as soon as the other guy doesn't have any more pieces on the board, which of course you get rid of by jumping over. Really simple, right? Well, you find yourself playing for quite a while. But I'm betting you didn't come here just to play checkers, so here's another one for you. Lines of action. You see reds lined up over here and here, blacks lined up over here and here. There's one red player, one black player. Sit wherever you like. The goal of the game is to get all of your pieces connected in one big blob. So if, for instance, somehow I had all these guys over here, and I had this guy over here, here, here. Okay, this is all connected now. You're allowed to connect on diagonals. That counts. So that's connected here. That guy's there, there. It's all one big blob, right? So black would win. Now, if I had just one guy, like over there or something, now he's no longer connected, so that guy hasn't won yet. All right. So you've got to get everything in one big blob. What's interesting is how you manage to do that. You take any random piece. Let's say it was black's turn, all right? Black piece here can move any which way at once, left, right, up, down, diagonal, any one direction. And to figure out how far you move, you count the number of pieces on that line. So let's say I wanted to go this way. I just go down the line here. There's 1. I count myself. And go over here. There's 2. There are 2 pieces on that line, right? See? 1, 2. 1, 2. Because of that, I move exactly 2 spaces in that direction. Or let's say I wanted to move diagonally. So I count. I go, okay, 1, count yourself, and 2. You count enemy pieces as well as friendly pieces. So I'd move exactly 2 spaces in that direction. In fact, if I wanted to go left or right, I could try, except it's not going to work out very well here. If I wanted to go, let's say, to the right, well, I end up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I try moving that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nope, you go off the edge of the board, you're not allowed to go off the edge. Furthermore, if you go this way, you would still count all of them. If I wanted to go to the left, I'd still go, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. 1, 2, nope, can't do that. I go off the edge of the board. So to show a couple of legal moves here, let's say that guy was doing that diagonal. He goes 1, 2. Let's say red wants to move this guy. Okay, well there's now 1, 2, 3 on that line, so you can move 3 spaces. Black might do a similar thing here. There's 3 there, so he goes 1, 2, 3. You can jump over pieces. You can jump however much you like. This guy over here, okay, there's 3 on this diagonal. If say someone wanted to move 1, 2, 3 like that, you see people starting to get themselves together here, and you continue like that. Let's look at another situation here. Let's suppose this guy wants to move along this line. There are 1, 2, 3 people on that line. So you can move 1, 2, 3 spaces exactly. You can jump over this guy. You can always jump over when you have moves left. If you land on an enemy piece, you replace it and you take it off the board. Now that may be your first instinct when you're doing stuff. The trouble is, remember your enemy's goal, same as your goal, is to get all the pieces in one big blob. So if you keep jumping on all of his pieces, he's not going to have very many pieces left, and the ones that remain, it'll be easier to get them all together. So you only want to take an opponent's piece if that piece was about to do something interesting. Otherwise, you probably want to leave it there. Here's a similar situation. Guy wants to move this way. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3 people on that line. So he moves 1, 2, 3. This time he's landing on a friendly piece. When you land on a friendly piece, you just slide forward. Just slide until the next empty space comes available. If there's no empty spaces, if, say, for some reason you had this sort of thing at the end of the board, and he was going like, say, 1, 2, 3, if you can't slide forward, then you can't make that move. You just have to move some other piece. One more of these, this time on a diagonal, but it's all the same any which way. Let's say it was this guy. Let's say he wants to move over in this direction. So he counts. There's 1, 2, 3 people in this direction. He goes 1, 2, 3. He's landing on his own piece, so he slides forward, and then you can just land right there and take that guy off the board. That's the game Lines of Action, which, like all of the games I'm showing here, is going to get you a lot of strategy out of pretty simple rules. The next game I'm showing you here is called Breakthrough. You may notice there's more checkers than you normally have, hence the use of a Connect 4 set, etc. But this you can play on actually any sort of rectangular board. It doesn't need to be a full checkerboard. You could, like, say, have half a checkerboard if for some reason you were running low on pieces, for instance. All you gotta do is take whatever space you got, and the last 2 rows should be black over here, and the last 2 rows over there should be red. Whatever big old rectangle shape. Anyway, so each of these pieces moves kind of like the pawn out of chess. If you know pawns, they move forward and they attack on the diagonal. Well, the way these work is kind of like that. They can move either forward or on either of the diagonals. So I could move here, and move here, so, something like that. They move forward again. He can attack, but you can only attack on the diagonal. So you can't go forward and attack this guy. You're kind of stuck there. But you can go this way and take that guy off the board. Or, if you want to go the other way, go there and take that guy off the board. So that's very, very simple. That person can move either forward or forward diagonal. And if he's moving a forward diagonal, he's allowed to take a dude off the board. Or capture, or whatever you want to call it. Victory is very, very simple. All you got to do is get any one of your pieces to the very back row on the opposite side. So in fact, you can play a game here pretty quickly. And what you're going to notice is stuff gets more complicated than you figured. So I take this guy here, and this guy can go up there. Now if I took that guy there, this guy would take this guy here, and move this guy up here. What you end up doing is you need people to back each other up. You need squadrons of stuff that's going to have proper defenses and so forth, or trick someone into getting a piece, off to the side and stuck on a dude maybe, and now he can't attack that dude. He can go around, but maybe this dude can get through. And if he can get through, and maybe this was undefended, and this guy can eventually get here, and once you get to the back row, that's when you win. A brief interlude, if you happen to have Connect 4, it's very simple. You take these Connect 4 pieces, put one in there or something, the other guy puts it in there. Whoever happens to get 4 in a row first is the winner. The advantage of this one is you have a narrow space taken up here. So if you're at lunch, which I often am, you have someone with a plate there and something there, and you can play this absentmindedly while simultaneously messing with your checkerboard. I know Connect 4 is marketed as a kid's game, but I actually end up using more brain cells on that than I normally would expect, given its reputation. Though it turns out Connect 4 is a solved game, which means they've run the computers and they found every possible strategy, and so technically you could find the perfect way to win if you went and looked it up. But thus far I've been just trying to figure it out on my own, better exercise for the brain.